Hello, and welcome to another edition of Day Drinking with Kevin. I wouldn't be a good McGuire if I didn't pair wines with traditional Irish food for St. Patrick's Day. And today, I am featuring the foods of one of the oldest restaurants in Fairfax City, Auld Shebeen. When I think of Irish food, I can't think of any better place to get it than Auld Shebeen. If you have an opportunity to stop by there, say hello and tell them Kevin sent you. Our first dish today is Scotch Eggs. Now normally, when you're doing Day Drinking with Kevin, you might want to consider something like a peaty whiskey here. Maybe something like a Glenmorangie or something like that. But if you're going to pair a wine, I suggest maybe doing a Chablis Grand Cru. Chablis is a Chardonnay grape that's not going to overwhelm the Scotch eggs, and it's going to give just about the right amount of acidity to pair with the eggs, the creaminess of the yolk, and give it a little bit of saltiness on the deep fried outside. I don't know too many restaurants that make Scotch eggs anymore, but I can tell you Auld Shebeen does an excellent job. So when pairing wines with Scotch eggs, consider Chablis, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. Another traditional starter is potato and leek soup. On a cold fall or winter day, I can't think of anything better to warm these old bones. I'm looking for something with just the right amount of acidity to cut through the creaminess of the soup and have some herbal nature in it to pair with the leeks. Here I recommend a Gruner Veltliner. Now the Gruner could come from Austria, it could come from Germany, but in both cases it's going to be the perfect pairing with the soup, both because of the crisp acidity and because of its herbal kind of green bell pepper nature. So when pairing wine with potato and leek soup, think of Gruner Veltliner. It wouldn't be St. Patrick's Day without corned beef and cabbage. The process of making the corned beef takes a relatively low-fat piece of meat and allows it to be served with a less than fully tannic wine. Here I recommend Cabernet Franc. The acidity in Cabernet Franc and the low tannins pair perfectly with a relatively low-fat cut of meat and also with the pickling and other spices that are included as part of the process. So when pairing with corned beef and cabbage, think of Cabernet Franc, either from California or from the Loire Valley. Next, let's talk about shepherd's pie. I have many fond memories of a kid of coming home on Sunday afternoons and smelling shepherd's pie that my mom was making. It's a great way to feed a large number of people. Here we're combining meat or lamb and mashed potatoes and spices, and I think the wine that goes perfectly with that is Sangiovese. Now whether it's a Chianti or Chianti Classico or Sangiovese from some other place in Italy, you're not going to go wrong here because the acidity in the Sangiovese goes perfectly with the meat and the potatoes, and the creaminess of the dish pairs really well with the darker fruit flavors of the Sangiovese. So when looking for a proper pairing for farmer's pie, consider Sangiovese from Italy. Finally, let's talk about pairing Guinness Stew. Now Guinness Stew can be made from lamb or beef in this case. It's got a rich, thick sauce with vegetables. What wine pairs with this? One of my favorites is Aglianico. Now Aglianico loves to grow in volcanic soil, whether that be in a place like Mount Volturri in southern Italy. Here this one's from Puglia, and it is a rich tannic wine that's going to pair amazingly with the soup and the big rich beef chunks. Each sip of the wine is going to be like kind of dancing around on the floor with Marilyn Monroe. It's really going to pair incredibly well. So if you're looking for something to pair with a beef stew like Guinness Stew, think of a big, rich tannic wine like Aglianico. Well, that's my pairing wines with Irish food for St. Patrick's Day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave some comments below. And if you've not yet subscribed to Day Drinking with Kevin, please consider doing that. And if you haven't already given this episode a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. Well, I'm Kevin McGuire, and these are the wines that are going to pair with your traditional Irish fare. To all of you, happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'll see you next time. Salute.